Hey, welcome to Baruch Hashem. I cannot believe this is our sixth session. We've been hanging out for so long. I know some of you have joined a little bit later. I'm actually thinking maybe making a couple of other supplementary weekly meetings because I really feel bad that we're not, some of you have joined a little bit later, so they might have this element of confusion. So I am planning on maybe extending it for like a week or two, just to get you back on, not back, to get you on a track. So this way, you don't feel lost or something like that. And you really, focus on the work. So one of the things that I really want to go into, part of the work that we're going to be doing now, not now, all the time, is the clarity of intention and the elevated emotion. These are the two things that really what pushes this work forward. Because you see, we might know something intellectually, might have a clarity of intention. The intention is very, very important because when I want to have five different things, that means my focus is divided by five, which means it's going to be weakened, right? The strength, the potency of my thought, it's going to be divided by five. Okay, that means the change is going to take longer. So that's why forget about the five other things or four other things. But when you focus on one thing, okay, for example, remember about the release of funds that I was discussing before that
But
mamish happens
I'm
the day before.
sorry, Mila, in the middle of the rehearsal, you go through that if you, the first thought that you have, the first idea that you want to create, you have to go around it from all sides and think about it in different ways. And if you finished with that, you can think of something else.
Exactly. It's like an event. It's like you want to see it from all sides.
Right.
It's in a way you hold the idea between your two hands, right? For some people who have a hard time envisioning, I would just offer you to hold your two hands next to each other, right? No, our hands, have very special energy. All of you, you could just rub your hands together. We could do it as we speak here. Rub your hands together, okay? And just, hold it like this, okay? Like when we hold something, we hold you. I'm holding a mirror right now, right? Here we go. This is my mirror. Okay. So here we go. I'm holding it. You see my kid's imprints, precious imprints on my mirror. Okay. So yeah, that's how you hold things, right? You hold things like that, gently, like you hold a cup. So you hold it. Okay. And inside, this is the field where you could put your thought, whatever you want. Okay. That's the clarity you're supposed to have when you want something. This is what I want. You know, have you ever worked with contractors?
Hmm.
Okay, you want to design a table, you want to design I don't know, a room. You know, usually contractors are men. I never met a woman for whatever reason. Okay, they need clarity. Tell me exactly what you want. Why? Because you could create something that you're not gonna like. So it's your vision. Tiles, floors, shades, everything. You have to tell them everything because you don't want to rely on their taste, right? He's the one who's going to be executing it. So the more details you have, the better. So you have to envision your room, your kitchen, I don't know, whatever you're building, okay? In between your hands, exactly, with the precision of the clarity. And this is where it's that's what we call clarity of intention. Clarity, very clear. You see the room, this tiles, this floor, this style of furniture. Okay. Now, a lot of times people feel like, well, I don't know. I don't know what I want. So that's why you see a catalog. You see, you flip the pages, right? It gives you an idea. Okay, and then you see this I like, this I don't like, this but in different color, blah, 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 blah. So this is birur, right? This is the clarification process until you're going to open a page and you're going to say, oh, this is it. This exactly what I want to manifest. Right? This is the picture. Okay, then you show it to the guy. Okay, he has clarity. Okay, this is what he wants. Or you could say, I want a cabinet of this from this page. I don't know, the floors that are on the other page and the wall color on the third page. Okay, let's imagine you have that vast vision. You could put that together because you are talking about something concrete. So the vision has to be very concrete, even when we're talking about the relationship, which is more ruchnius, even when we're talking about a feeling, which is also very not concrete, but it also could be concrete. Okay, felt. So that's very important. Okay, and when we envision things, there are two ways of envisioning. Now, many of my students before would say, like, you know, Mila, it's like we don't know where it's coming from. It's a very, very ruchniistic things you are talking about, and blah, blah, blah. That happened until I came actually from a very, I found a very interesting video that I came across about mental rehearsals, right? As unique as the sound, when it talks about sports. Apparently, in sports, have been used all the time.
Yes.
All the time. It's like
the last round you did send this video of the sport is amazing.
And we're gonna watch it together. Okay, so I see Sarah asked a very deep question, but I'll answer that after we watch the video. It's phenomenal. This video really puts together, it demystifies all the spiritual, like, oh, this is like mystical, sounds like this, sounds like that. Forget about it. We're talking about sports. You know what sports? It's the most gashmi thing that you could ever do in your life. Sports, right? It's like, here we go. You have your muscles, you have your body. You move your body in a particular way, playing a particular type of sport or doing a particular type of exercises. I mean, how physical can you get than sports? This is just very gashmistic thing, right? We're not talking about spiritual practices here. And even in that, very, very physical. Yeah. Like, wow. This amazing video that I came across from a very, very special guy. His name is Eric Jones. And apparently, now that I'm into golf, I've never had anything about the golf, but apparently, this is the guy who has been, a very, very famous trainer. And he himself holds a few gold medals. Oh, don't ask. You could Google him about all his achievements. And he's coming not like a guru, not like a monk or any of that sort. He's a basic trainer in a very physical, scientific discussion about visualizations and importance of it. So we're going to watch it. Okay, now it's about 12 minutes.
Sorry, Mila, are you saying the visualization is more spiritual than the body? That's why you are.
No, it's a part of body. All what I'm trying to say is that we forget about certain brain functions. Okay, and we mystify them at something like, I don't know, people in Tibet do, or who knows what. People, it's so interesting. Recently, we've been having this interesting discussions. I know I'm on record, so I'm going to be very careful with what I say. Okay, people have been having very interesting discussions on Seal Live about breath work and all these things. Okay, I'm sure those who follow Seal Live, I specifically follow it. Interesting, very interesting stuff. I'm not going to go into right or wrong, but I've been teaching hypnobirthing for quite a while. Okay, for like about 6 years. What breath does to a woman during birth is something unbelievable. Okay, its mamash could come from experiencing pain of labor to virtually going completely pain-free. And we're talking about science. We're not talking about anything spiritual here. This is literally science. There's Buteyko breathing you could look up. That's actually Leishena. Your king was healed by using Buteyko breathing because he had asthma from horses. Apparently, you can be a king and have allergy from horses. Yeah, you could look it up. He followed Buteyko breathing protocol, this Russian scientist that lived a very long time ago. He developed a whole thing with breathing. And if you think about it, when you read it, you feel like it's something spiritual, but it's actually very scientifically based about how our breath affects the physical outcomes. Unbelievable. You could look it up. I'll send you. Anyway, so so we're not talking about anything spiritual here. We're talking about the way Hashem created our bodies and how it actually affects. So visualizations is also part of our brain, has nothing to do with, obviously we are spiritual beings as we are physical, right? But we're not talking about some kind of esoteric part of our being. This is very basic. It's whether you're going to hit the ball in the right place or not. This is what we're getting down to. Okay, so now take pen and paper. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, okay, or you could put the notes on your phone. I want you to be very, very attentive when you watch this video. I will share this video later, but I want to have a discussion with you after the video. Right? I want you to pay attention to how he describes, okay, the process and what he says specifically about the parts of the brain that we are engaging and how he differentiates our analytical mind, okay, versus other parts of our brain that are responsible for vision, okay? So that will help us tremendously in our work, what we're going to be doing and what we are already doing. But right now we are zooming in, discussing something very, very specific. Also, I want you to pay attention to two types of visions that we might have, okay? I'm not going to say what they are, but just be on the lookout that he describes two ways how we envision ourselves. Okay, so please have that clarity, pay attention to him, and I'm sharing my screen. All questions you could put on okay, everybody sees it? Okay, let me know if you hear.
Our fireside chat tonight is about one of the...
Everybody hears? Just put the thumbs up because I shared with hearing. You hear? Yeah? Okay, good, great. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. I'm gonna put it as loud as my computer will allow. And yeah, let's go.
Our fireside chat tonight is about one of the key mental skills that separates the guys on the PGA Tour from the guys on all the other tours, and the key skill that separates the better players from those that don't play as well. That skill is visualization. In other words, the ability to see the shot before you hit it. The better you get at visualizing, the better you'll play. It's one of the keys to consistency. It's one of the keys to accuracy, and it's one of the keys to having a lot more fun on the golf course because you'll have a lot more confidence if you can see the shot in advance. Here's my contention. If you can become a scratch visualizer, you can become a scratch golfer. I did a little quick article about a tournament when Aaron Badley won last year, the end of last year. And he actually looks at his shot and then he literally closes his eyes to get a better mental view of what's happening in his shot before he hits. And then he opens his eyes and steps on into the shot. So he's totally committed to doing that. But there's some other guys that are really, really good at seeing the shot before they hit it. And I'll tell you what, it's not that hard to do. There are various, I'm going to call them levels of your ability to see a shot before you hit them. Jack Nicklaus was one of those guys who was able to picture the entire shot, like from the moment it left his club into trajectory, all the way to where it would land and bounce and roll out and stop. He never hits a shot until he can see it in advance. That's how important visualization is to him. There are other players, so that's an extremely high level of visualization ability. There are other players who have very low level of, let's say, cinematic vision or cinematic imagination, where they can actually see all of it. They might only see maybe parts of a ball in flight. They might see the ball maybe landing, or they might just see really clearly where the ball lands. I have some people at the very far end of the visualization scale that actually don't see the shot as well at all. They actually feel the shot. And so we actually call that kinesthetic vision. So where they don't actually create a mental picture of the shot, but they just create a feeling of what the shot feels like. And that's good enough. In the end, it's actually what you feel that's important. And I'm going to build the argument for how we do that. Now, there are two ways that people tend to visualize. One is they'll see from behind their eyes, and that's where they'll see the shot, they'll see the ball flight. There's another way where people actually see themselves as though they were standing apart or separate from themselves. They're exterior, and they can literally see and envision themselves swinging and hitting. There's no right or wrong. There's only what works for you. So whatever way works, use that. But part of my contention is, you do need to use it. And the better you use it and the more often you use it, the better you're going to play. The first thing I want to talk about is the three brains. And some of you have heard me talk about your three brains before, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each one of them. But I'm going to go through what their strengths are and how they communicate. And once you understand how our three brains communicate, you'll begin to see the importance of really good visualization. We have one brain in the neocortex. That's our thinking brain. That's the newest part of our brain. It's the part that handles ideas, philosophies, concepts. It's the home of language. You've probably also heard right brain, left brain. So this thinking brain also is very good at analysis. It's very logical. That's the left side of our brain. But the right side of our thinking brain is the creative side. That's the part that draws pictures, writes poetry, and sees images. So our thinking brain actually has two parts to it. When you're playing golf, you want to use those two parts to your strength. You want to use the analytical part, the left side of your brain, to analyze the conditions, the lie, the distance, the conditions that you're hitting into, where the ball wants to end up. And then that thinking brain, the left side of the brain, the rational side of the brain, creates a strategy. Then what it does is it communicates with the creative side, the right side of the brain, to begin to actually see how that shot would come about. So this is where visualization takes place, in the newer part of our brain, the thinking part of our brain. Now, the nice thing about our thinking brain is it's really smart. It can do these things and create really good strategies. Or we could ignore it and do really dumb things on the course. But it's really smart. We also, though, have two other brains. We have an emotional brain, which is really housed in the limbic system and focused around the amygdala. And one of the keys of the emotional system is confidence. Actually, confidence is an emotion. And the majority of confidence is housed in the emotional brain. So what happens when you're strategizing, analyzing, strategizing, and then visualizing the shot is you're sending information to your emotional brain, and it's going to react to it. Do I like that shot? Do I not like that shot? Am I comfortable with that shot? Am I not? And hopefully, in part of that process, all of this is taking place in your pre-shot routine. The emotional brain puts a stamp of approval on it, the information that it's getting from the thinking brain. Now, the cool thing about the emotional brain is it can get us really up and really pumped and really excited about what we're doing. But the bad thing about it is it can be angry, it could be sad, it could be depressed. So it can be any of those things. The emotional brain can also be in the past or in the future. Where we really want it, though, is in the present. That's because the athletic brain is only operating in the present, only what we call the now. I saw a really funny photograph of a guy looking at his watch, and his watch said, now. I thought about getting that, just wearing that when I play. Because what time is it when you play? Now. Now, there's no other time when you're playing. Just be in the now. Now, we like to think that our thinking brain is really smart, that operates really, really fast. But the truth is that your emotional brain operates much faster, many thousands of times faster, and your athletic brain is even faster yet. So anyone ever walked along and slipped and then caught their balance and then just kept right on walking? That's your athletic brain taking over, keeping you upright. If it had been your thinking brain and you slipped, your thinking brain would have said, oh, I slipped. Let's see, we better try something. How about if we move forward or we shift our... No, too late. You're already on the ground. That's how slow our thinking brain is. So our athletic brain, by comparison to our thinking brain, is really, really fast. It's located in the cerebellum, right on the top of the spinal cord, and it's actually the home of something that controls our movement. Now, the other thing about the thinking brain is the thinking brain is not directly connected to movement. The thinking brain does not control motion. It actually has to send a message to what I call your athletic brain to say, go do this, make a golf swing, hit the ball from here to there. Now, if you're sending instructions, then we have a challenge. Here's why. Your athletic brain, being really the oldest part of the brain, does not understand language. But it developed when we were little tiny organisms bumping around, bumping into things, and we had to decide that whatever we bumped into, was it something that we eat or something that was going to eat us? So the athletic brain is really, really good at pattern recognition, really good at spatial relationships. It can do advanced calculus in a heartbeat, but it does not understand language. So what's a pattern? A picture. So if you're standing on the tee and you're thinking, okay, let's see, there's water on the right. Okay, last time I played, I went in the water, so I'm not going to go in the water this time. I'm going to aim left, away from the water. Excellent. And those are the instructions you send to your athletic brain. And your athletic brain is going, I didn't hear any of that. Let's see, but the image that I could pull out of that is something I do recognize, and that's water. Aha, it's right over there. Let's go there. I know where that is. And it'll get you right to the one place that you don't want to be. That's what happens. Which is why you only want to focus on the thing you want to accomplish. Only visualize the successful outcome. It's okay as part of your strategy to acknowledge there's water to the right. It's okay to acknowledge there's out of bounds to the left. But then you need to shift and say, okay, but here's where I really want my ball to land. That spot right there, and I see it landing in that spot right there. Why? Because it's sending a message the only way your athletic brain can understand it. A picture. So the clarity of the picture that your thinking brain sends to your athletic brain has a huge amount of influence over how well you play, both your accuracy and your consistency. So it's worth it to take the time to really see the shot before you hit it. And you probably heard see it, feel it. Make sure you see the outcome that you want to have, not the outcomes you don't want to have. Right? You can acknowledge them, but then put them away and replace them with the one thing that you do want to have happen. And the more specific you can be, the more specific the image is that you send to your athletic brain. And your athletic brain likes that. So I've had great success recently with some of my players. What I have them do is to stand there and look at your target and then pick some unique feature about that target, whatever it is, and describe it. Now, it doesn't matter what you describe, but the act of describing it clarifies the image. But there's also one more link, and that's the see it, feel it link. Not only do you need to see what it is that you want to hit, but you need to feel it, because it's your body that's going to enact what you want to have, what you're visualizing, what your strategy is. And I saw a very fascinating video on YouTube, and it was Tiger Woods playing his practice round at the U.S. Open when he was up at the Olympic Club. And he's on the second hole, 428 yards, par 4, little dogleg to the right. And there's a big tree out on the right side corner that if you get a little too far to the right side, it blocks your shot into the green. So you need to be on the left side. So I actually watched him hit 3 practice shots to see what he wanted to hit. First one sliced off to the right. It was a hybrid. He sliced it to the right, got behind the tree, didn't like that. So next he pulled out an iron and hit it straight. It didn't go far enough. He was still trapped behind the tree. So what he ultimately decided was he still wanted to hit an iron, a little bit longer iron, but he wanted to hit a draw. So he stood behind his ball, and it's fascinating to watch him. And he's looking out, he's looking at his target, visualizing his target, and then you see his hand, and his hand starts to go like this, and then it does this. So what he's doing is his body is beginning to rehearse the motion that his thinking brain is seeing. And this is the real purpose of what you're no longer going to call practice swings. They're rehearsal swings. Practice swings, just think about staging a play. The first day when you're staging a play, you get your sheets of paper and it says, move 3 shots to the left, pull out your gun, turn, and shoot the bad guy. But the night before the performance, you do a dress rehearsal when everything is without cues. You're supposed to remember everything. So this is a dress rehearsal. If you want to practice, make practice swings, make those on the practice range. But when you play from now on, I want you to make rehearsal swings. Look at your target and rehearse the actual swing that you're about to hit. Rehearse that a few times while you're looking at your target, while you're visualizing what the shot is going to do. Then when you step up, your athletic body knows exactly what to do, and it'll carry it out a lot more reliably. See it, feel it, do it. And that's a great pre-shot routine. That's what your pre-shot routine is intended to accomplish.
Okay. How was it?
Wishful thinking.
So fast.
Why?
He spoke
What was
so
that? You spoke
Brilliant.
fast?
to me.
Okay, so what did you get? That's very important. I want to hear the group because I could
I
speak a lot.
got that there's 5 brains. 5 brains. The thinking brain, the creative brain, the emotional brain, and the athletic brain. So it's 4. I said
Actually,
5, but it's
Chaya,
really
Chaya, it's a
4.
neocortex that has on the
Divided
right the
into 2.
creative and on the
Right,
left
right,
analytical.
right, right,
But
right.
what I really heard from him is, I mean, that I focused on is not to focus on what you don't want, but focus on what you do want. So my question is, at the beginning of the MR, we're visualizing the things, the old thoughts, and we spend, I don't know, 10 minutes on that. Why are we doing that if we're supposed to visualize only the positive on where you want
So
to
if
be?
you remember, he said
I
you
had
could
the same
acknowledge
question.
them. Right. He said you could acknowledge them. Remember? In the video, he said you could acknowledge what you don't want. But then you
I know,
hook it.
but there's so much. I like every time I do an MR, it's like I want to get over that. That's because it's so long. I spend so much time. I don't want to spend time in that. Like acknowledge it, fine, and then move on. But it's like we're visualizing. We're listing
No,
it.
you should
We're
not
like
visualize it. You should not visualize.
not visualize, but like remember them and then all the playing the game and
Oh,
like
it's it's
like,
a feeling, the actions, the thoughts, it's everything.
Right. So it's I'll tell you why we do this. It's because when you become conscious of your program, you're no longer the program. The trick is that we are being tricked into kind of like living unconsciously. We're not even aware of what we are feeling at the moment. And that's where the issue is. We're becoming the program. When you zoom out and you're like, oh, let me see it from my side, right? Let me recognize my patterns so I will never go unconscious. Okay, that's why you do the mental
As soon
rehearsal.
as it comes up, you know it's not something you should dwell on and move on to very quickly.
Exactly. When you notice your patterns, for example, for me, pattern of getting myself busy with other things than what I actually need to do. And I'm very good at it, okay? It took me about 6 months to recognize this pattern. I wasn't seeing it. I thought like, yeah, all these things I need to do all these things. Who is going to do them? Right? So for me to actually see the moment I feel overwhelmed with a particular task and I go right away to do something else.
But why did it take you 6 months to recognize
Because
it?
I wasn't able to see. I knew that intellectually people from outside would point out to me. For example, my homeopath would point out to me, but I wasn't able to catch myself when I do this diversion.
it's not only noticing, it's also eliminating the resistance to the thing you want to do.
Exactly. So what I would do, for example, okay, let's speak truth. Chaya came to observe my school. She gave me a task to do. Okay. What did I do? I said, yeah, thank you very much. And I noticed right away my brain went on creating another project. I'm serious about it. If I would not notice, if I would not know that about myself, I would not notice it. Do you understand? It's many mental rehearsals that mapped out to me the exact destructive behavior. You understand? It's, for example, every time you feel overwhelmed, you go eat something. You might not notice. You might think like you're eating because you're hungry, but it's not true. It's not because you're hungry. It's because that's how you eat your emotions. You feel fearful. You don't know what's going on. Fear of the unknown. Go eat something. Okay. Now, how brain makes that connection? I don't care. As long as you notice
because
it.
it's easy and you can accomplish it.
Whatever that is, it's like, why? I don't care. Okay. Why? I don't care. The question is that you notice the shift. When you notice that shift, you could notice it when you're constantly presenting it to yourself. That's your pattern, that's what you do. So you recognize. Now, that doesn't mean you need to visualize it. You already know it. It's within you. So the more you recognize it, okay, the less this controls you. You understand what I mean? For example, when Chaya was telling me all these things, I was like, oh, and I literally noticed how my mind's eye would shift on something else that it's 100% sure that it's very important to do right now. Okay. And you're like, oh, here we go again. Look at this. I see it. I see it happening. You understand? And that's very valuable because the minute you notice that shift, you're no longer subject to that program. You see the program working. You're like, oh, that's a very nice, interesting way. And then somebody else says something for you to do objectively. And all of a sudden you shift on something else. And you're like, oh, I noticed that. I caught you. And you do this long enough, your brain no longer needs to do it because you uncovered the structure. You exposed the sabotage that you do. So why would your body sabotage it if it doesn't work anymore? So the program stops. And that's why we want to do that during the mental rehearsals. Now, you should not envision. Your mama should follow the script because I never ask you to envision your old self. Only ask you to envision yourself of how you catch yourself in those programs. Okay.
How you
So
what?
you're driving, you're noticing. Noticing is very valuable.
That's what you call metacognition, right?
Exactly. Bezrat Hashem. Yeah, we get next. That's the next week's things about metacognition. Now, metacognition is our frontal lobes that are able to see ourselves from the distance. Okay, that's not going to your traumas. That's literally just noticing.
Just open. You can open.
Self-talk. Noticing your self-talk. Noticing how it makes you feel. Okay. For example, do you want to hear? There was a period that I used to argue with my husband a lot. Okay. I don't know. And I started doing this work. We're literally talking about 6 years ago. And argument used to take a lot of emotional space in me. Okay. I mean, obviously, right? You argue, with such a close person in your life, it brings out the feelings of unfairness, of, whatever, rejection, everything, your whole package. And then you dwell on it, then, you sit with it for a couple of days and blah, 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 and all that. Now, that takes space. Okay. Now, when I started working on, my shalom bais, myself, and different things, we obviously stopped arguing because I was not initiating. Okay. What do you think happened? I felt empty. There were times where I literally felt empty. And I would wonder, I was like, oh, that's very interesting. Like, why do I feel empty? Well, because now it's not filled with all the garbage that you used to self-sabotage and create. That's why you feel empty. And I started transforming that emptiness into an internal calm. Do you understand? Because when you used to be very hyperactive internally, creating problems so you can solve them, you understand? So you could gain your self-worth in your own eyes, and you stop that pattern, there's going to be a void. Do you understand? And that void is good. So then what do you do with that void? Now that void, your brain interprets as emptiness. It's true. It's a void of conflict. And that's great. So what do? So then you retrain your brain to acknowledge it as an internal calmness space. So now this space could be filled with creative things, okay? Not conflict. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now this space is going to be a calm space for creativity, not conflict. Okay? So that takes shift. That takes, for me, it took a couple of months. If so now why did it take me a couple of months? I don't know. Maybe for somebody it's a couple of days.
Lucky you. That's a short time.
Okay. That doesn't have to take you like a couple, maybe somebody could do it in 2 days. Amazing. But we're all different, right? So for me, that's how long it took. So yeah, it took me 6 months just to realize certain shift patterns.
There is
Yeah.
one thing to recognize where I concentrate on trivial things instead of doing the important things. One thing is to recognize, and one thing is to actually get that habit. It's two different things. The recognition could happen right away.
Is the big
Yeah.
thing. No, but it also doesn't happen right away by everybody. Believe me.
Mhm.
It doesn't. It's depending on what. Some things that we easier to
once, I'm
recognize.
sorry, Milas, the awareness. Once you have the awareness and it's constantly on top of you, you can just ignore it.
Yes. Awareness is the key, because then we no longer the program. And that's where we want to get. And that's why during the mental rehearsals, it's very important to envision yourself. You are driving, a distractive thought that doesn't belong to you enters your mind, and you stop it. You say, I'm sorry, I don't have energy for you right now. That teaching you to divert your attention to where you want to be, because these things will be coming up. If you're only going to be envisioning your good, your desired outcome only, right? Imagine we're going to cut the mental rehearsal in half and focus only on good, which we will have, Bezrat Hashem, next week. I will share with you a recording. It's a very short recording, up to 8 minutes, that's just refocusing you on your vision, just that clarity. But if you're only going to do that, there are some things that are holding you from doing that, your old patterns. If you're not going to recognize them, that's going to be a wishful thinking, and eventually you will give up. Okay, because your brain will interpret it as unattainable. But by you recognizing what's holding you and focusing on where you want to be, allows you to kind of remove those obstacles. Okay, you say, oh, I know you. I know where you're coming from. I know who you are. I know what's going on here. I know that you want to sabotage here. So all of a sudden, you become a CEO of your own company right here in your head. You're recognizing, oh my gosh.
Have now, I'm sorry, Mila, you have the space to deal with your resistance while you're not doing it.
Exactly. For example, you become less reactive. You see, the healthy organization, okay, everybody has to be bought into the vision, okay? Then you have a couple of teachers that are working by you that are rotting your whole herd. Do you understand? Like, they're not good. You need to move them out. Like, it's like they diffusing your morale. Okay, and you need to recognize these people. This is very hard sometimes to recognize because they might have all the qualities what you're looking for. Okay, but this a little smile, a little smirk, a little this and that shifts your whole morale of your organization. So you have to be very, very careful as a director, you know, figuring out what's going on here. Okay, what type of parents come to your place? What type of, you know, it's like a whole chachma b'fnei atzma. It took me a long time, 16 years, and I'm still figuring that out. Okay, so that's the same thing as within us. Within us, we have our own internal structures of how we operate, our operating system. So when you step back, that's what stepping back is, and recognize what is going on here. Every morning, it makes me feel this way. Okay, every time I faced with a challenge, I'm getting these things. Okay, it makes me feel like that. Every time I want to commit to something, these type of things start coming up my way. What is going on? Okay, and once you figure out where they're all coming from, how they originate, why they originate, okay, you're becoming a master over yourself. Okay, and you figure out what you need and what you don't need, where you go and where you do not go, which door you never open, okay, and which door you always leave open. Okay, so that's why that part is important. But don't worry, B'ezrat Hashem, as of next week, I'm sharing a new recording that's going to be just your vision before you go to bed. This is excellent time. After you did your neuroshifting, you could just listen to it, or throughout any part of the day. That's going to be only where you want to be, you know, only your vision. And that's a vision rehearsal. But we're not there yet, B'ezrat Hashem, okay? So now let's go back to this video, okay, of this Eric Johns. Okay, have you noticed what are the two ways of visualizing yourself? What are they?
Think is one is visualization in your brain, like seeing, and one is more kinetic, that you're actually doing it with your body. One is more imagination, sort of, and one is physical feeling.
That's true, great. Then he added another component there. When I vision, how do I vision? There's two ways of visioning.
Yeah, before, like you close your eyes and you're either you're part of it now or you look at this like you're from outside.
Exactly. One of it is that I'm looking from inside out. Okay. Like you are, like I see you right now, right? Is meaning my eyes see you and I'm looking from inside out. Okay. That's one way of seeing. That's one way of vision. Okay. And I'm actually experiencing, like, let's say if I'm experiencing myself, I don't know, coming over to my sister and giving her a hug and feeling her hug with me. Okay. Good. Why not? That's inside out, meaning I am experiencing. This is a higher level of vision when I'm experiencing from inside out. Now, some people have difficulty with that. Okay. Some people more see themselves removed as if they're watching a video, okay, as if they're watching a movie of themselves. And they are over there, and you know, the other person is over there, and they see that interaction. That's also good. As he said, like it's not right or wrong, it's what works for you. Okay. So the third one is feeling the actual shot. They don't see anything. It's the feel that they experience. Okay, imagine like you want to hug your sister. You don't see your sister. You don't see yourself hugging. There's no peripheral, then there's no exterior. This is the actual feeling of it that you're experiencing. Okay, the actual embrace and how it would feel in your body. There are some people are very good at it. Okay, so whatever works. Okay, so but it has to be two. It has to be visual and kinesthetic. Why it has to be visual and kinesthetic?
Because this is how you connect it to the actual doing later in a minute or in, it's already kind of a practice.
So how is it a practice? Like why it's important for me
Here's
to
the pen that erases scratches.
visualizing it and the kinesthetic part. Why do I need to feel it?
Oh,
what
it's
reason?
he said that that was the first thing that we come at birth that we have. The rational mind, and until it would communicate to the kinesthetic, would take time. It's a longer path, and you really have to get it into the kinesthetic that it should be part of you.
Great, because the kinesthetic brain, right? This is, he calls it athletic brain. We call it cerebellum. Remember in our chart that I gave you, I'm not sure which one was it. I believe it was number 3 or 4. The note, I have a whole graph on that, okay? With the 3 brains, you know what I'm talking about? The 3 brains or not?
Yeah, didn't we call it the being
Because
brain?
one is fast and one is slow. So
One is rational, and we need all of it.
yes.
Because for me to envision my shot, that's going to be my neocortex, right? To vision, the right brain of neocortex. For me to feel my shot, I need my cerebellum because that's where the movement is. Okay. So, meaning this is when my brain starts working cohesively, not just different parts doing their own thing. Okay. And when we are talking about the clarity of intention, it all needs to be coordinated. I need to know where is my goal and how am I shooting there. And my body has to feel comfortable with that. My body needs to feel like, yeah, oh my gosh, this is real. It's happening. Okay. And you could, once you have that, it's mamish miracles could happen. Okay. Okay. Because our body communicates very, very differently with Hashem than our analytical brain. Okay. I will tell you a very interesting story. Some of you witnessed that. My son, Neria, he was in Eretz Israel. Baruch Hashem, at that time, he was probably like around 19 years old, 19 or 20. And he was in a yeshiva in Tzfas. And he was doing something in South. I'm not exactly sure what that was. And then he obviously, as all Israelis, they take tram, okay, which I never allow my kids to do, but that's something, the disobedience that they do anyway. And he gets on a tram with this Druzy guy. Him, his friend, and this Druzy guy, he gets on a tram with this Muslim or whoever they are. I have no idea. Druzim, I guess Muslims. And they they travel for 4 hours till Tzfas. No, Druzim are not whatever they're, whatever. Okay. So he travels for 4 hours until Tzfas. Okay. They stopped in a few places, and he's like this, nicely socially integrated boy. He started socializing with this guy, making fun, taking pictures, stopping along the road. He likes beautiful scenes in Eretz Yisrael. Baruch Hashem, it's not deprived of any nice, beautiful nature scenes. It's fun. Why not, before he knows, he drops him off by yeshiva in Tzfas. Until he puts all his packages together, he realizes that he forgot his tefillin in his car. Okay, that's not fun. Because, I don't know, maybe it's his tefillin, number one. Number two, also my husband has his whole hidurim and his shtick. Who writes this tefillin is Eloi from this place. The batim, the most expensive batim. Don't ask. It's about $7,000-8,000 tefillin. Okay, right then and there. And not only that, even if you have all this money, it takes months until it's actually going to be put together. So he completely freaked out. Okay, he remembers from the conversation that this Druze was supposed to go to. Why was he going to Tzfas to begin with? Because he wanted to go to the market. So my son is, Baruch Hashem, very athletic. He ran all the way to the market because apparently you cannot find cars easily in Tzfas. You can just grab a cab. Right? So he travels all the way there. He and his friends are looking all over the market. They do not find this Druze. They do not find anything. And they don't know what to do. So now he realized he's in panic. So he calls me. He said, Ma, you don't understand what's going on. I lost my tefillin. So now I'm in New York. What do you do? I said, go to police. So my son laughs in my face. He says, Ma, there's no police. And I was like, what do you mean there's no police in Tzfaz? He's like, I'm telling you, he's, quite a balanced boy, but he was really losing it. Okay. He's like, you don't understand. There's no police in Tzfaz. And I don't even know where they are. And he doesn't even know where the police station is. I was like, but that's unheard of. What do you mean there's no police station is? He's like, whatever. So he's all panicking. He doesn't know what to do, where to get the guy. And I told him, didn't you take his number? He's like, no. He's like, why do I need this guy? He's like, why would I take his number? The only trace of this individual was a picture. And my son also doesn't have a smartphone. So what is he going to do? So the only picture was a picture of the boy that was next to him. He had a smartphone. So he sends me a picture of him and this Druze. That's all what we know about this guy. Okay. So what did I do? I told him, okay, Nario, calm down. Okay. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay. Just sit down in one place. I said, breathe in and breathe out. Okay. So there's no police. There's no this. I said, just envision yourself holding your tefillin. He's like, Ma, I don't have time for this, blah, blah, blah. I said, just relax. Just what else? What are you losing? You're not losing anything. Just calm down. Does this tefillin belongs to you? He says, yes. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. I said, you didn't steal it. No. Okay, good. So that's your tefillin. He says, yes. It's like amazing. So do you think anybody has any ownership of this tefillin? He said, no, it's mine. I said, okay, amazing. So that's yours. I said, yes. I was like, okay, so can you just see yourself holding the tefillin? So he said, yes, I see myself holding the tefillin. I said, do you feel the weight of your tefillin in your hands? He said, yes. I was like, okay, that means it will come back to you somehow. We don't know how yet, but it's yours. Who do you think needs your tefillin? Nobody needs your stuff. This is your chelek. This is your domain. This belongs to you. Nobody will take anything that belongs to you. So I said, okay. So I said, now go find police. We need to do derech hateva. So go find your police. They're probably going to open the search. He was like, okay, he was not sure if that's going to be a possibility. But I said, you do your part. You go and you call police. Meanwhile, we created a whole operation. I contacted all my Israeli friends that I knew at that time. I created a little visual thing of this guy. We don't even know his name. Oh, another part. We didn't even know what was his name. But did we know what it was? I think maybe we need whatever. I'll find this visual card that I created. We are looking for this Druze in Israel. Okay. Anybody, he has my son's tefillin. Anybody who knows him, please contact this and this phone number, okay? And I send it out to all my friends. My friends send it out to all Israeli groups that they were in. So it was circling wildly somewhere, I don't know, in the net, okay? On all WhatsApp groups that were out there. Okay, that was it. So now my son went while he traveled to this unknown police station. These guys were sitting there no, we're going to find your tefillin. Forget about it. We're not going to make a national search for your tefillin. Go buy yourself new ones, period. That's what they told. So he wasn't happy with that. So they said, okay, we're going to open, they opened a case, so quote, in the police station that Mr. So-and-so lost tefillin by this unknown Druze. That was it. Okay. They contacted other few police stations nearby in case somebody comes across. So they'll return to this police station. That was it. And now my son called me again. He's like, Ma, this is what they told me. I will never find my tefillin, blah, blah. I said, listen, your outcome really is being determined by what you're saying right now. You close your mouth, you don't say anything if you don't have anything good to say. I said, go back to your vision. You're holding your tefillin. This tefillin belongs to you. So you reframe him back to that reality that it belongs to him. And I said, go. He said, I wrote to the Rebbe, okay, and he received a very interesting letter. I'll share with you what letter he got, and was very uplifting. I told him, listen, the Rebbe talks about the nisim here, miracles here in his letter that he got. I said, okay, everything is going to work out. So he got so overwhelmed by the whole thing that he went to sleep. That was it. I guess that's the best thing what he could have done. It was just too much for him, okay? It was getting already late, actually quite early. It was around 8 p.m. But he literally went to sleep. It was too much for him. Like this whole experience, him living his tefillin, not knowing with this whole police situation. So he goes to sleep. Now we wait. What can we do? Like practically, I'm not in Israel. I'm not flying to Israel to look for these Druze, right? And we don't know. That's it. That's a reality. So what happens? Now, none of this channel works, right? This Druze arrives all the way to his house, okay? Unloads whatever he bought from that shuk in Tzfas. Then he realizes that all in the back, there's tefillin standing there. Now, believe it or not, he has consciousness at 8 p.m. No, not at 8 p.m. That was already like 1 a.m. Okay, when he came home, he realizes that like, oh, this boy's tefillin here. He was knowledgeable enough to understand that it's a prayer article. Okay, he realizes that this boy tomorrow morning needs to daven with this article. Okay, he drives back to Tzfaz, something that nobody expected, for another 4 hours. Okay, he waits until 7 a.m. until yeshiva opens up. He knocks on the door of the yeshiva. He remembers where he left off. Okay. So there's a cute video of him. So now the boys in the yeshiva who were there, they came out right away because they know that Nerio lost this tefillin. This guy knocks on the door. They have no idea what's flying. So they come out to the car, and he says, "Here, I'm returning Nerio's tefillin." So he returns the tefillin. So they asked him, why did you return? He's like, yeah, I know that belongs to him. I know that he would need it next morning. So he drive. Can you believe this? I mean, like, what are the chances? 0. And he returns. So now my son wakes up 7 a.m. and lo and behold, his tefillin is right in front of him. Can you believe this? So now one of the things that I actually wrote to the Rebbe, he says, I want the Rebbe to bless me that tomorrow I will daven with my tefillin. That's it. That was his bakasha. And that's exactly happened. So it's interesting, but the words that this guy said, I know that it belongs to him. He truly could have just checked it out of his car and forget about it. Right? Like, who cares? Do you understand? But he cared. He cared enough. It's a miracle to me, like to have this level of consciousness, not to wait till the morning. I mean, imagine you've been driving all day long. You've been driving 4 hours to Tzfaz, 4 hours back to your house. Now, all what you want to do is all night drive again. I mean, like, what are the chances? You probably could have just go to sleep, and then you'll bring next time you're going to be in Tzfaz, if you're so, So for me, this was like mamish a thing that, to really re-identify reality. This belongs to me. Okay, I feel it in my domain. I feel it with my senses. the reality will readjust itself. Now, how is that going to happen? I don't know. There are many ways how this problem could have been solved, right? The police would find him. I don't know. Somebody from my groups will say, oh, I know this guy works in my next door store. I don't know. Could have been many different ways, beyond, far beyond. And what ended up happening here, the least expected, nobody expected him to drive back 4 hours to bring him his tefillin. Well, literally, nobody were even thinking about it. So Hashem really surprised us with this, and that was it. It was the story with tefillin. So reconfirming that reality, what belongs to me will remain in my domain, and nobody can take what's yours. It's literally nobody. Having that assertiveness, having that bitachon, this is what bitachon is. V'hadavar vaday etzlo, and the person
is that what he calls confidence?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Was he? I'm sorry. Was he saying that confidence is in a brain of its own?
Whatever it is, like we don't have to go into particularities. You're right. He's talking about that being as a limbic brain. But what we need to do is when we realign our truth, the thing is very certain. Okay, it's like day. This is working out. Period. It may not necessarily manifest yet, but it's yours. It belongs to you. You didn't steal it. It's yours. It's going to come back to you.
Wow.
That certainty is essential in anything manifesting, because if we hesitate, then we're letting go of something that belongs to us. Now, let's go back. The relationship between husband and wife, right? Like, what's the hesitation there that it should not be perfect?
Why? I think it's two people with different opinions, and it's
yes, Hashem puts us in one household. What could be the issue that we should not have a perfect relationship?
If
trauma,
you're doubting,
who cares about trauma?
Right, if you're doubting, like maybe it's not the right one, maybe there was a mistake. But
Exactly.
if you recognize,
so once you doubt, amazing. Once you doubt, there is somebody else out there that's part of you. That's a problem. But if we all know the fact that two people ended up being under one chuppah, it's not stam. It's hashgacha pratis, right? Like that, just things. So the two people are now in one union. Okay. Regardless to what happened yesterday, the day before yesterday, this blah blah blah, all these explanations, we don't care. Right now, they live in one household, okay, and they belong to each other. They have a ksuba. It's a legal document. It's a legal spiritual document that locks them in this relationship. Now, what could be the reason why they should not have a perfect shalom bayis? From Hashem's perspective, like, do you think Hashem wants to inflict this couple?
No, it's a growth opportunity.
Whatever that may be, from Hashem's perspective, bless this house. He did it. How? The Sheva Brachas, that's what the whole thing is. He blessed it. He brought this Shechina for this ksuba, for this chuppah, and everything. Now it's their choice what they're going to do with it. So they have to choose the right thing. They have to choose shalom bayis, period. So there's no explanation should be in the head of the person. Okay. Oh, I don't deserve shalom bayis. Oh, it's really not for me. I meant here to struggle in this world. We live in Golos, therefore there's no Shalom Bayis. He was traumatized in a childhood, there's no Shalom Bayis. I was traumatized. I had difficult relationship with my father, with my mother, with my grandmother. I was born, I don't know, on Tisha B'Av. I mean, don't ask, right? I mean, I work in this field and I ask this question, why do you think you don't have Shalom Bayis? And you know what? People give me the most interesting answers.
You know, I was just listening to a French rabbi, and he gave a very nice explanation. He said that people that get divorced really never were married. They never created a true bond between them. They were
Whatever,
always
you know what?
separate.
Whatever that is, I don't care. If a person entertains zero tolerance for any reason, and you know what? We see marriages that are coming from a completely broken backgrounds and they thrive. We see marriages who are coming from a completely wholesome background and they don't thrive. It's all kinds of, you know what? There is no right or wrong. There is one thing, that a person, when they choose to have bitachon, there is absolutely no reason on earth why this couple should not be happily married. Even if it's the idea of Gilgulim, which is the strongest one, okay? When they make a conscious decision, this marriage is going to thrive. Why? Because I chose it. Because defying any rationale, okay? Or having an absolute bitachon that every single child that we have right now is going to grow up l'torah l'chuppah l'masim tovim, chassid, yirei shamayim, and lamda. Although right at this moment they could display exactly the opposite of that reality, but we don't care, because we make a decision that that's what's going to be for this child, not pushing it down anybody's throat, but because you will hold that vision. It will circle around and that vision will manifest itself. Okay? Because you held that space. That's all. No escape, no maybe, oh, well, when this one child was born, this and this happened to him, and I went to this Makubal, that Makubal said this, and I mean, people say all kinds of things. This is all noise. Because ultimately, from Hashem's perspective, he wants good for his nation. And I'm part of this nation. There's absolutely no reason why people should be impoverished. There's absolutely no reason why they should lack anything. Okay, the only reason why we do lack is because we have explanations for why we should be lacking it.
Wow.
And that's what locks us. Because somehow our rational mind gives an explanation why you should not have X, Y, and Z, and you fill in the blank. Okay. Once we remove that completely obliviously to whatever the materialistic explanation could have been. Like imagine Sari Meinu, for 90 years, she has no kids. Okay, a malach comes, pops in, and says something to her husband. Okay, can you imagine she could say, I cannot have kids. I'm barren. She gave a possibility. She's like, oh, that's interesting. She even laughed. Like, wow, my husband could have kids. That's amazing. I'm ready. Let's go. Okay. So that's it. That's who we learn from. Okay. So she didn't go to, oh, well, you know, on my last medical exam, I was told I don't have a womb. Okay. And therefore, I should not be having kids. If she would go that route, she would not have Yitzchak. Because Hashem gave her a bracha, she allowed that bracha to enter. That's what malchus. You create an empty space for that to emerge. Even when you're 90. Even if there's medical evidence. Who cares about medical evidence? You know, there's a beautiful story I read in volume number 1. what is that book called? 1 second, I'll pull it out. It's called To Know and to Care. You know, they're very nice, interesting stories that happened to the Rebbe. There's one story. There's a woman that came to the Rebbe, and well, she was 6 weeks postpartum, and on one of her postpartum visits, she was told that she has a growth, and you know, it's really, really big, it's growing everywhere, and she, you know, soon gonna be bye-bye. So she was young, vibrant woman, was having kids. Like, she was not ready for this type of news, you know, was completely shocked. And she didn't speak Yiddish. So she was intimidated to walk by the Rebbe to ask for a bracha. Okay. But she told her story to her neighbor. Her neighbor said, you for sure, they lived in Crown Heights. She said, don't worry, I'll go with you. I'll speak Yiddish. I'll go with you. We'll ask the Rebbe for bracha. It's very nice. So both of them are waiting in this Dalin lines. And it's a cute story. So they walk over to the Rebbe. And this neighbor now speaks on behalf of her neighbor. He says, you know, this woman, she was, you know, she's 6 weeks after she gave birth, and they found a growth in her. So the Rebbe looks at her and says, whatever they found, they will lose. So now she's translating to her in English what the Rebbe just said. So now it's a second shock, right? So she was shocked to hear something like this. So now she's translating it to her neighbor, and her neighbor is shocked. So her neighbor now suspects that maybe the way this woman translated her request was, you know, something was mistranslated there. So now she speaks to the Rebbe in English. Okay. So she says, but the Rebbe, they found a growth in me. Okay. So the Rebbe looks at her and tells her in English now, whatever they found, they will lose. So she got all confused, and people obviously started pushing out, like, okay, come on, you already got your message out. There's a second person next to you. So they were pushed out, and they were both very confused when they came out of 770. So what ended up happening, obviously, the story was, obvious. She went to the doctor, and they lost it. They were like, oh, wait a second, where did I go? Right, so you understand that we have a power to tap into a reality, okay, where things could just change. Whatever they found, they could lose. Whatever went too far could, find their way back. We live in the reality that whatever we perceive, okay, will just come right here, right now. So there is no fixed reality. Remember, we were learning that every time you open your and close your eyes, there is a new reality happens. Okay. The whole world retracts itself. Okay. Few times. It happens few times a second. Then it happens once a day. And then it happens once a week. Right? Every Shabbos, the whole reality goes back into the unity of Hashem. Okay. And that's why on Shabbos, we're not allowed to make any plans. We need to be in right here, right now, not to talk about any negativity, nothing. There's a Kedusha, there's a holiness of Shabbos, where there's only right here, right now exists, nothing else. Okay. And then it all happens once a month before Rosh Chodesh, and it all gathers itself once a year on Erev Rosh Hashanah. So we're constantly going into that state of ayin and coming right out. So whatever we do not want, we want that to vanish in that state of ayin. It becomes ayin. Okay. And whatever we do want, we want that to come right out. Okay. So these are essential things that we need to do. Two things. It's a lot of discussions, but two very vital things is a clarity of our intention without any doubt. Can it happen? It cannot happen. Why it would happen? Who said it would happen? But the whole world said it will never happen. It doesn't matter. You want it? There's a reason why you want it. Okay, you ready to work for it? The answer is yes. Amazing. So start working on it. This is as simple as that, without going into particularities. Okay. There is one very funny video I have, but I'm going to show it only if you have nice sense of humor. Yeah, everybody has nice sense of humor. Because once I showed it to a group, to like 3 women, and did not have a nice sense of humor. They didn't understand one bit. Has to be somebody who knows how to laugh at things and put things in the right perspective. I see, Leishena, you have your hand up. What's up?
Yeah, it's hurting me now. Can I just ask you quickly now?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. One little question, it just came up late. It's not the main question. It was Sarah did laugh, though. I know there's all different interpretations of why she laughed and so on. And we said that Sarah made space for that possibility of having a child at age 90. But when she first heard the news, she did laugh. But the original question I was going to ask you was, with the vision that I have, so it's about vitality, but the scene that I'm going back to every day is where I'm leading a group workshop, and I'm really showing up fully in my full vitality and so on. And for some reason, it keeps going stale. So I don't know if it's one of these patterns that you were mentioning, where we have to get to know our patterns of our self-sabotage. I don't know if I'm just curious as far as like when you're saying when he was explaining to us in the video, the 3 different brains. So the emotional brain, it just suddenly has changed for me. Like emotionally, it's not doing it for me anymore.
So, about the Sarah. First comes first. Give it to me, please. Marshall, give me the phone, please. Okay, so, the Sarah is like this. Remember, the Rashi says why she left. She could not perceive that her husband can have kids, right? And when Malach reiterated this when the Malach mentioned this to Avram Avinu, why your wife left, he changed it a little bit. Why you left when? Because, can she become pregnant? But truly, she was laughing, can he have kids? That's where her laugh was. She was like, she didn't doubt herself, her ability to conceive. She was like, what about him? She was like, he's gonna have kids. Interesting. Why? Because he had kids with Hagar. But go to Rashi, you'll be surprised. It's very funny. So that's what you could get. She didn't doubt her ability to give birth. If Hashem wants, I'll give birth. She wasn't doubting her ability to give birth. But what's it called? The Malach did Shalom Bayis. The Malach didn't tell him, Avram Avinu, about her true question. She was, he said, why? Because she is barren. You look at like I'll send to the group the whole discussion with Rashi. It was really funny. So now back to you. It could be many different things. Why is that it's stale? A lot of times, like, see what are your benefits? What is your payoffs for not wanting what you want? Okay, like just ask yourself, like, what am I gaining? Okay, what am I gaining by having this issue? I will tell you, for example, what am I gaining by having the issue with my knee is because I sit home, I spend more time at home, and I don't have to work so hard, and everybody like around me a little bit more supportive. They don't give me such a hard time because I have an issue with my knee. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And everybody asks me like, "Oh, Mila, how are you?" All of a sudden, I gain so much attention. People like, how is do you need help? Do you need help cooking? Do you need help with your kids? All of a sudden I feel like, oh, Mila, you're becoming Nabach. You're looking So you know what I mean? This is my gain of having the issue, but what am I losing? Am I losing my freedom of movement? Am I losing, my vitality of running around, doing all the things that I'm doing, carrying things and picking up heavy things and doing everything myself and feeling the energy, feeling the life, feeling the vitality that I could get out. Now, I missed my lilac tree blossom in Prospect Park during that time. So I'm missing out on a lot. And what you missing out outweighs on what you're gaining, then you're like, okay, I'm done with it. I don't need it. Okay. So once you're done with it, you're energetically shifting into a whole new possibility that you allow yourself. Okay. So, just to make that chart of like, what are you gaining? But obviously you have to be very honest with yourself. You don't need to share it with anybody, but there is usually gains. Okay. They usually payoffs. That's why our body holds on to that. Okay.
Question. Can I have a question?
Amazing. Okay. Yes.
I have a question, if I may.
Sure.
I see that most of the people here are really working on themselves, more vitality or etc. And I feel that in a way it's easier to work on myself. I have Bchira Chofshit, etc., and everything I could apply to myself. What if the intention is somebody else? Like I put that question before.
Right. But you're not really working with somebody else. You see, like you are still working with your field because we have circuitry about everybody. And especially when it's a family member, a close family member, right? Like our children, you already know who they are. Okay. And a lot of times what we project, one second, this does not belong to you. Okay, so please don't touch it. Okay, this is Neri's. Okay, so sorry about that. It's so whatever circuitry we have about that particular individual, okay, it plays itself. It's like a recorder. Okay. So it could be that whatever happens with that person, okay, we as an adult have created space for it. So when you work still on your field, okay, you hold a different space for that person, a different outcome. A lot of times we hear other people's stories. Oh, if your son doesn't do this and this by this age, they're going to be that and that. Or if your daughter doesn't do this and this by that age, they're going to be blah, blah, blah. Okay. And everybody tells us there is other people's narratives, other people's stories, other people's explanations of what they see. Okay. And we just need to void ourselves because a lot of times it becomes self-fulfilling prophecies if we believe in them. Okay. That's why the ability to completely void ourselves from other people's narratives. And what do you think Hashem's narrative for that person is? Seriously. Like, what do you think Hashem's narrative for that?
I'm going to add on that question when it comes to visualization. Because
no, but one second. Let me just answer.
I think Hashem wants the best for that person. Hashem wants him to be at his best.
Beautiful. So you completely gonna forget listening to anybody who will tell you other story. You don't need to hear them. They are nobody. There is you, there is this individual, and then there's Hashem. So you're going to hold the vision that Hashem has for that person. Now, does that takes away the Bechira Chavshus of that person to step into that narrative? No, he actually has a vast choice. He could listen. How many, like probably 10 people told you the story? He has a choice You could step into any of those visions or your vision, but at least you hold that for them. So you're not taking away the Bechira Chavshis. You just create a space where they could be different. Now, whether they could choose to be different is going to be up to them. You see the difference? And now you already feel how you would feel when that reality will happen. So you magnetize. You understand? You're already in that state of being. So there's absolutely no way that sooner or later that reality will not just collapse into your daladamis.
And you'll
Because
be
a
one
lot
of
of
the first
times,
ones to be notified.
okay, because usually what happens is that we'll live outside in. We first want to see the reality manifest, and then we first want to feel loved. Okay, outside, there's an individual who loves us. In order for us to feel love, we first want to see 600 millions on our bank account in order for us to feel wealthy. We first want to see the reality, and then we will feel. But the reality is exactly the opposite. Okay. All the rich people out there say books, and I've read a lot of books, and I've seen it also with myself. The abundance, the feeling abundant comes first, then the reality matches it. Okay. All successful couples, okay, they first feel loved inside, and then they're able to give love and receive love from outside. Okay. People first feel competent, and then they become professional in a particular field. The energy comes first, then the manifestations comes later. That's how it works. The same way as with a magnet. First, the field creates, and then the reality realigns like those metal chips. How? I don't know how. It's just the fact. That's how it is. Okay. And that's why, if you notice in Tafshin and Aleph, Tafshin and Beis, the Rebbe says first, we first start living in the Geula framework. That's what will bring the Geula. The same thing is with that person with the healing. Okay. The letter that we read. You first feel your health, then the body matches the health. You feel your vitality, then the body matches the vitality. Field comes always before the matter. That's what the Rebbe also says. Lahagbir tzura ala chomer. Tzura comes before the chomer. Because the world is energy of Hashem. How you align it, how you arrange it. Okay?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So then when we do the work for, like what's her name? Ms. Ginsburg?
Mm-hmm.
About someone else. So when we visualize, do we visualize ourselves with that person, or do we visualize that person? And you know what I mean? Like based on what we learned today about the visualization.
So it really depends, right? For example, if a girl is dating, okay, she with one guy, you not necessarily have to envision getting married to him because maybe he's not her guy. Okay. You understand what I mean? But if she's already married, then whatever she's envisioning, it has to be about that guy because she's already in a relationship. If you already have a kid, you could envision that kid. You could envision that kid on their own with their friends, with how they, operate. You could envision yourself with them. We are free. We are free to envision whatever we want. Obviously, we want good things, right? For example, I would not advise a parent to push the issue with who the kid is going to become. He's going to become a doctor. He's going to become a mathematician. Why? How do you know who he's going to become? They're going to become whatever they want. But are they going to be observant? Should you envision them being observant? For sure, because that's the truth. Okay, now, how exactly, what, I'm talking about the specifics, leave alone. You envision them being happy, you envision them being productive, you envision them with their families, you envision them to be good in the skin, healthy, empathetic, whatever the Torah prescribes what a Jew's supposed to be, you could envision them. That's all your freedom. But is he going to be a businessman? Is he going to be sitting and learning Torah all day long? I don't know. That's already for Hashem to decide, whatever the mission that neshama has to do. Sometimes we like push the issue, but maybe the person's supposed to be something different. Not everybody's supposed to be sitting and learning, in a base medrash all day long. Okay, maybe he's meant to be, I don't know, the greatest businessman and supporting the whole city. I have no idea. So why we need to, but is he supposed to be financially content? Yeah, one way or the other. I mean, let Hashem, figure that out through which vehicles it's going to come. Meaning we need to envision what, but we don't need to force what we think the child should be doing, as long as they're doing whatever the mission is. And we all have different missions. For example, my mother wanted that I should become a doctor. Like, hello, me a doctor? This is like the most ridiculous thing. I see blood and I faint. Like, no, you don't envision that. That can be completely different. A teacher, she never envisioned me as a teacher. Okay. I'm talking about whatever, like we all have our own things, but should she envision me happy? Yeah, with my own family. Yeah, that's good. Meaning like you need to know like what you choose, but but you don't suffocate a child. Yeah, like you keep it broad. Yeah, my son Maishla really wants to show some pantomima here. Yeah, he's like, I don't know if you see his hand sticking out a little bit. Okay, so he wants to teach also. You want to teach? No, not yet? Okay. So he wants just to entertain. Okay, great. I know that we need with Yehudis and with Miriam Leah a little session so I could, fill them in a little bit because they did join us a little bit later. So are there any specific questions that, I guess we're going to watch the video next time.
Can
It's
I ask?
actually very, very short. Or you want to do it now? Let's vote. Oh no, my phone died actually. I won't be able to show it to you.
Mila, can I ask a different question, completely not related, but just a management question? This is like this course should be staying within, by the participants. I really would like to share some things with my sister or my daughter. Would that be okay?
You could sure share. I mean, this is some
No,
of the
no, no,
things
to
that
share a
somebody.
video or to share a video, to share. Is that okay or not really?
I mean, you have the consent to share I don't understand. You
No,
want to
no, no,
share
no,
a
no.
video?
If you agree, because maybe it's copyright, if I could share
Oh, to
this.
show this video about
Yeah.
this guy, Eric? Oh, you
No,
could
no,
share
no,
it.
no, no. A class that we have with you, if I could share it with my daughter or my sister.
No,
You
that's
could
not
say
allowed.
no.
I have to be part of the course. Yeah.
Okay, totally understood.
Yeah, but you could share the notes. That's not a problem. The
Okay.
notes that I share, you could share. Yeah, that's not a problem. That's you could share
Okay.
with your friends and family. The concept, for example, the videos that I share, like this video, I'm going to share about the Eric Johns.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, for sure. You could share that with
Uh-huh.
them.
Which, okay.
Yeah, it's very nice. You could discuss the concept. You could even teach them to whoever you want. You could take this, but you cannot actually, like send this
Got it.
recording because that's only for the class. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, amazing. So now Miriam and Yehudis, the rest of you, you could still stay if you want to, but I'm going to give the space and time for Yehudis and for Miriam Leah because it's already 4:30. Yeah.
Thanks.
So if you have any particular questions where you feel like, I don't know what to do, where to find what on a drive and all that.
Yeah, so I think that the meditation, which everyone is doing every morning, is that one that you got to at the end of week 3. Is that correct?
Yes, the mental
perfect.
rehearsal. Yeah.
Okay, so either I get it from week 3 or it's in the folder of sources. Now, this whole neuro shifting, I have no idea when that comes up or where to find it. I didn't get to it necessarily in the recordings.
Yeah,
I
just
think
one
I
second, one
listened
second. I
through.
just need to, yeah, just hold on a second.
Shalom, could you turn it down? Or put on your headphones? Or you know what?
Okay. Whew. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Okay. So I'm gonna share. I think the best would be if I could just share what's going on our the River of Change. Have you ever seen there's a group description there?
Yes, and I
Okay, great.
see that it leads to sources.
Beautiful. So I'm gonna open the folder and we're gonna walk with it. Okay. So you would just
Amazing.
know we
Oh,
have
thank you.
I miss, I guess, what the WhatsApp group received before you added me. I mean, not all the little things, but the main things that you.
okay. So there is on group description. You will see there. You'll see there a Google folder.
Oh, okay.
So when you press on Google folder, you'll see this. You see what I'm on my screen?
Yeah, I see on your screen for now.
All right. You'll see over here mental rehearsal files.
Yes.
Then you'll see here session notes.
Yes.
Then you'll see here sources. And then you're going to see here your goal. So I would start with you opening your goal, right? You're going to see here just one worksheet. Okay, you open that up. You're going to see this document. Just fill it in, whatever your goal is.
Oh,
right?
it's blank page?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could do it in any page you want, but it just
No,
already kind of
okay.
feel,
The bag. It was
yeah.
in the bag. We unpacked it. We didn't see the phone actually. Oh, maybe it's in the purse. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're gonna go back to this folder. Okay, we're gonna go back. Okay. Then we have here sources. So sources, I don't know, people ask sometimes where you get this, where you get that. So it's mainly here, like Likutei Diburim, Power of Thought, letter about Lechatchila Rebbe, Live Future Now, letter about Zohar and divine reciprocity, letter that Mrs. Gansberg got. I actually have it twice for some reason, whatever.
Okay.
I'm gonna remove this one. It's good that I noticed that. I'm not gonna, okay, anyway. Yeah, so that's, we also have to feel a Moshe that I shared the link. Also the Bitachon Sicha. This is where I get my ideas from, right? Many people say like, oh, whatever. I do also, use different language, so it's easier to understand certain things. Okay, so these languages are not coming from the Sichas and Mamarim, but the concepts are coming. Okay. Anyway, so then we have session notes. So these session notes are what I give by the end of each session. What have we learned, right? Because again, if in case you want to, I don't know, review it, right? So it's all here, okay? So now, if you, let's say you listen to session number 2 and you want to understand what we need to do, so you'll just open it. Okay, you could print it out. We were speaking about these are the things what we spoke about. And after the second session, all the way in the back, you see this is Neurashifting Daily Practice.
Wait, I don't see.
Thank
see it?
you.
This
I
blue
just did
page.
not know where to find that. Okay, super. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Wait.
This is meaning you print all session notes. I really, Mamish, suggest you should print it. Okay. And you have it in your folder. You could look through it on Shabbos, whatever it is, right? It doesn't have to be in color because I don't know if you have a color printer. It could be black and white. It's fine. But this is Neurashifting Daily Practice. Okay. From last week, we made this a little bit more complex. Okay. You'll see. Okay. But anyway, this is where you begin. Don't go into complex one. Do it for at least 2-3 weeks. So you get a hang of it. Then you could make it a little bit more enriched. But for now, if you're just beginning, I would just start with this. Okay. Beautiful. Let's go back. Sorry, let's go back to, this is, the session note number 3. Again, you say here, this are the topics. Okay, these are the concepts that we discussed. Okay. And, these are the resources. And we started working with this chart. Okay, so now this chart, it's just a reminder. Okay. So it's like a checkpoint. You did your mental rehearsal, check. Why do we start with Thursday? Because our week starts after the class. We have a class on Wednesday. So the day after is this. So from this weekend on, we started mental rehearsals. Okay, so if you want to understand how to do the mental rehearsals, this is, okay, where we go. And then your hourly check-in.
I was literally missing these pages, these documents. I did not have this tracker. This is
okay, good. So now you know. The hourly check-ins, it's revisiting your state of being. Like, let's say, I don't know, you want to earn $1 million. I'm just going to simplify it, right? You want to attract $1 million. Good. So this one, you already envision yourself, part of your mental rehearsals, you envision yourself already owning that, okay, or earning that on a monthly basis, whatever your goal is. Right? So how would you feel when this reality already here? Okay. So now you're going to feel probably, I don't know, expanded, relieved, happy, free, whatever, right? And it also resonates in your body in a particular way. Okay. So now how it feels in your body. So what you do during the hourly check-ins, you just revisit. Are you there? Like vibrationally? Like, are you vibrating with that already or not yet? And it's very important to keep up throughout the day this vibration, because you do your mental rehearsals, you feel it very strongly. But what happens after 2 hours being in real life? Can you go back to that state of being, or you're going to be shifted back, drifted back all the time? Okay. So wanting to sustain that vibration. Now, if it's every hour too overwhelming for you, adjust it. Every 3 hours, 9, 12, 3, 6, right? If it's too much for you, every 6 hours. So you put like a little reminder by you that reminds you of right here, right now. Where am I? Okay. Okay, that's that. Now, the session number 4, okay. So we talked about the 3 brains. That actually corresponds to the video that we heard, right? That was already in session number 4. So you'll print that out. You'll see.
Interestingly, though, the visual, isn't the visual brain like in the back or something like that?
It is. It's a limbic brain right here. Oh, you're talking about
saying that the visualization is in the front.
Okay, so you're talking about the actual eyes, right? The physical eyes.
I don't know. It was just from the diagrams. I was just remembering.
Yeah. So the brain, okay, the eyes, our physical eyes, see with the back of the eye. The nerve goes all the way, travels back. But we are talking about mind's eye. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So the mind's eye, not necessarily in the back, but they have the prefrontal cortex. Okay. Prefrontal cortex that has this vision. Okay. Then we were talking about automaticity and field of vibration, coherent and incoherent signals, the emotions, the spiral up and spiral down, and living in the now, working with others, right? It was quite intense. And this is the weekly tracker. Okay, again, it's the same thing, but just for week 4. Then this is what I shared yesterday, the session notes from number 5. Okay, so this one, you see over here, right? That's where we get this intense emotions that is not being easily discharged through our regular neuroshifting. So what do you do then? I think one of our students asked for it, and we need to get that clarity with her about what to do when there is so much trauma and trapped emotion. Sometimes it comes up and the body is just not letting go. Okay, the body is constantly revisiting that state. So you could do this practice also. Then we spoke about Yosef HaTzadik. Okay, all that. We spoke about, living in the state of survival or creation. You have a few slides here. Then we have the breathing tool. Now, over here in the beginning, you see over here, neuro-shifting practice from limiting thought to this one is already enhanced. Okay, this one is when we rewrite in 2 columns. Right now in the neuro-shifting number 1 version, right, we only write in 1 column. After 2-3 weeks, you revisit this. You will be writing into 2 columns. For example, here we spoke about, oh, I'm so stupid. Why did I say that? Let's say if that comes up, right? You could, move it to, a more rectified letters, right? So I was stupid, blah, blah, blah. You could just say, I did the best choice at that given moment, right? You're not judging yourself. At the same time, you're acknowledging that you did your best with the given circumstances. Okay. On the other hand, you're not limiting yourself to do other choices because now you have other circumstances, you have other knowledge, you expand it, so you could choose differently. Okay, as opposed to saying like, oh, I'm so stupid, I cannot do that. But anyway, we're gonna go deeper into that if people need more explanation. But it's basically you are rewriting your thoughts. Okay, from very, very limiting, and you're giving yourself an opportunity to see that differently. Okay, how can I think greater than that? Okay, so that's pertaining to that. And we also learned about a few breathing tools that you could incorporate in your practice. Okay, so that was the session notes, right? Then you have mental rehearsal files here, right, all the way on top. So mental rehearsal files, you have 40-day journal. This one you need to download, okay, and print out. Okay, you print this out, you save it as PDF. Okay, you go here to file, you download it as PDF, and then it doesn't shift. Okay, PDF. And then you just print it out as is, and that's it. And you start filling out. So when you fill this out, okay, there is a video that I shared about how to fill it out. Okay, so over here you put your goal. And then this is very important. When filling in your daily journal before the mental rehearsals, please be aware of the following. That when I ask about thoughts, it's reflect a mental state and self-talk. Thoughts can be conscious or subconscious. Now, actions reflect our behavior. It's not what you need to do towards the goal. This is not what I'm asking about actions. It's what you do when you're there. Okay, what do you do when you don't have money? I don't know. People sometimes smoke cigars. People sometimes eat. People sometimes go to sleep, shut down. They procrastinate. They do all kinds of things, right? But what does a person does when he already earned his, I don't know, 600 millions? Maybe he goes to vacation. Maybe he, I don't know, owns a business by then, right? So these are the actions, what you do when you are in that state. It's not what you do to get there. This is very confusing sometimes, right? Actions you would need to fill out are not what you plan on doing to achieve your desired outcome, but rather what you do and how you would behave when outcome is already achieved. Okay, so the
Okay, so
feelings.
can I ask questions here?
Sure.
Okay, so my first intention, I was alluding to this, is that my first intention was I just want to carve out time to get more like writing done. And so so it was just sort of, I don't want to give up any of the projects that I am involved in. So I just want to figure out a way to just fit them in and manage the time better and, you know, create structure. So that's how I first started out. But then I also realized that like what I need, or what I think would be like a better goal, is to have, is to not, is to emotionally, you know, not be mean or rude in circumstances where I want
You're
to
being
be
triggered.
critical. Yeah, I want to be critical, and then to just restrain myself and not be critical, and just, you know, just live in a peace, just create peace, you know, like just be more calm and peaceful. And like, it's not about me and my accomplishments, but rather like just being a Kaylee for like peace and whatever. Um, and I don't see either of those. Like, it's much easier for me to envision what it looks like to be accomplished or whatever, or what it looks like to be in the zone. I think it's easier. It's a physical vision. I mean, I guess like I had to just like, I'm saying the emotional, like I'm just envisioning being calm. And that's what I was telling you, is that as I was envisioning being calm, and maybe I skipped to week 4 instead of do the one column, and I was trying to go from column A to column B, but it was like I was resisting. Like I didn't know where to put that anger. So when
I'm
I
so sorry to
imagined what
stop.
bothers me, I had frustration, and I didn't know where to put that frustration. And I don't, so I'm like this envisioning being in that space. Can you speak to those two intentions
Yes.
and
So
the
let's go with
idea
it.
of envisioning where we are versus how we get there or whatever?
Mira,
Yes.
I need to leave, so I'm sorry if I stop you. Is anything critical more than I need to know that you
No,
want?
no. So I'll tell you, you could watch the recording later. It's
Okay.
recorded.
Oh, this,
So Zrat Hashem, yeah, from it's gonna be like another couple of minutes.
yeah.
You'll see the recording what's the end. Okay.
Okay.
Bye. Sure. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, so this is the day 1, right? Let's just go through this. I think we'll fill in, right? So over here, you put in where you at. For example, I'm doing my mental, let's say, rehearsal now, and I'm putting in here, oh my gosh, I had such a long day and I'm tired. That's all. You're just stating the facts here. Thoughts and feelings before mental rehearsals. You could skip it. but it's good to track it just to see what happens before and after. Okay. I think it's good for self, journaling. Now, the focus of the meditations, how I no longer want to think, act, and feel. Over here, you could put thoughts, for example. What are your thoughts? I am being impulsive, let's say, right? Or I'm being overly critical when people do stupid things. Or I think I cannot tolerate people who do stupid things. I don't know, whatever you might be the issue, right? I mean, no, it happens, especially if you're on a sharp side, like, oh my gosh, why you are so slow? This is so ridiculous. It should not take you so slow, right? And all that stuff. So you put that in. Whatever your thoughts are. I'm frustrated to work with stupid people, right? Or this is so annoying. How come, in this particular office that you're dealing with, people could be so stupid and still hold a college degree, whatever, I'm like really bluntly putting it out there. Okay, now what do you do when this situation arises? I don't know, you either say something, but if you cannot afford to say something critical, you could just shut up and hold that feeling of frustration inside of you, right? So this is what you do. These are your actions. Now, the feeling, what do you feel? You feel angry, you feel frustrated, you feel wasting your time, okay? You feel whatever else, okay? So you just fill it in. That's gonna be what you feel, okay? And that's it's the more elaborate, the better it is, but it doesn't have to be a whole Megillah, right? So we're talking about from 2 to 6 feelings.
But this is every day. We're
yeah, because that's very important, because but again, you don't have to sit there for half an hour. To fill this in should not take you more than 9 minutes. It has to come. You'll train your brain. It will be just like, okay, how do I usually feel? It usually doesn't change as much. It's more or less the same patterns repeating themselves from different variations. I did not detect more than 6 patterns. You know what I mean? Like I do the same thing over and over again. So it's not like, I'm so creative in the way I express my anger. It's very, very stable. I'm stable on that end. Okay. Okay. So now event vision. So now you forget that page for a second. That's it. You worked with it. Next page. All right. That's going to be your next page. From right to left. That's going to be your left page that opens up. Right. Okay. So here you're more working where you want to be, not where you don't know want to be, where you want to be. Where you want to be. What is it? So you write it. I want to be. I am. You write it as I am. What is your blueprint of your future? Like I am, let's say.
Right. See, that's where I guess I just get stuck, is because I want to be somewhere totally different.
Fine.
But you see, stuck. Yeah.
Your old self had a long page validation here. You have it all here. You're not forcing it. Where you want to be, how you envision yourself. For example, you started with the time management.
Things. They're totally two separate things. It's like that's
they are for sure.
And
this is how you feel. But here, what do you want? I want to earn blah blah blah. I want to have a husband. I want to have this relationship. I want this and this, and you're already there. You literally write. You're walking down the street with your amazing husband. I don't know what, and I'm doing blah blah blah. That's your vision. I don't know, like in your cases, like you already have a very well-rounded schedule, right? With everything falling apart without you being stressful. Because you see, a lot of times us keeping a schedule and being organized associated with stress. But can you imagine you just chill, you have everything aligned, everything is beautiful, and everything works out. Hello, gorgeous. Yeah, and everything works just right. Okay. Can you envision that? That would be beautiful. Let it be. So meaning like you want to, because a lot of times our impulsivity, anger, that's coming from pressure. Okay.
Right,
So
it totally flares up when, if I'm under pressure for myself and then I'm just hypersensitive to other people bothering me. It's like I'm very hyper focused on whatever my goal is, and then someone else just comes in my line of you know fire, and they just get shot.
exactly. So you see, because your operating system through forcing the outcome. You see, if your operating system, I get things done, okay, when I am X, Y, and Z, hyper focused, right? That's how you get things done. So that doesn't have to be like that. You know, there are many chill people that get a lot of things done. So you might want to allow yourself to accomplish a lot of things, but from a calmer state.
Wow.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's basically what I'm saying, and that's actually an integration of both intentions, and that would be like the dream.
Yeah, it's not, you don't
Is
have
to
to
not
be like,
lose myself.
like this. Exactly. You don't have to be, because for some reason you told yourself that story that I have to be X, Y, and Z in order for me to do X, Y, and Z. But it doesn't have to be like that. Okay. You're not limited to that. Okay.
Do you hear that?
So, yeah, that's my that could be my phone.
Oh, that's yours? I wasn't
It
sure
could
if that
be,
was
yeah.
mine or not.
Somebody is really
that's
trying
funny.
to touch.
What?
Yeah, is it okay? Great.
This is like the after school. Come to where?
Why?
The Getty. I mean, that's if we're going tonight, but you're for sure. Okay, can we talk about it later? Hard maybe. If we go, then yes, Getty can come. Connie is not 8 years old yet.
Well, she's
Okay.
like really almost.
I know, but she's
in like
not.
1 month.
The Y doesn't allow her to go in the pool by
Well,
herself.
you're allowed to lie
Okay,
if
can
you
we-
really want to go.
I think she needs her birthday. We should lie about her birthday. Ask her mom.
Her birthday is in like a few weeks.
Okay, so ask her mom if she's okay with lying. I'm fine with that.
My mother said.
wait, Mayan!
Okay.
Don't shout to the entire neighborhood. My mother says it's okay to lie about your birthday. just come back in here for 1 second. And this is the source of problems in my life.
Oh, it's not source
Anyway.
of problems. They're just being, you know, I remember once there lived a very interesting family that I did not want my kids to play with her kids. Yeah, happened, you know. So my kid was so innocent. He was 4 years old. So he told me, you know, this mother asked me if I could play with the kids. And I said, no, 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 no. I don't want you to play with them. Okay. So then she comes knocking on my door because she wanted to insist, you know, like, oh, you know, there are some interesting people. They don't understand cues, you know. So she comes over and she says, I want you to come play. And I hear from the kitchen. I was like, and then she says to my son, I want you to come and play with my kids downstairs. And my son innocently said, well, my mother doesn't let me. Your kids.
That's funny. Well, you could just make an excuse, like it's homework time or something.
But he was 4 years old. He couldn't do that.
Oh, so cute. Oh,
You couldn't say like, no, I don't want, or something like that, or I have homework after this. It was too innocent.
Right.
Okay, anyway, so I'm just gonna let you go soon. Anyway, so the focus of this here, you put your thoughts after that reality already there. What would be your thoughts when you are calm and you have time for everything and you don't have to rush and you don't have to be stressed, and yet you're getting one thing after another done, and you're so chill about it? What would be your thoughts? You'll be like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I could accomplish so much without being stressed.
I would just feel so grateful. I would feel so grateful to Hashem for all the
not what you
blessings.
feel, your thoughts.
Yeah.
That's down.
What would I
Feelings
think?
are down. Okay. Feelings amazing. They're going to be grateful. If they pop in like just happened now, you just put the feelings first. It's fine. They're popping in first. Grateful, whatever that may be, right? Like Baruch Hashem,
What
I
would
don't
be
have
the
to be
distinction of
stressed.
thought? What do I want to do next? Like that's how. So I did do
No,
this intention.
no. What do you
No?
mean? What do you want to do next? No, you are in
Meaning I would be
the moment.
thinking of like what's my I would be thinking about my projects. I'd be thinking about what's that's what I'd be
I mean,
thinking.
yeah, okay, fine. So you could say, I'm going to be planning my other things. Fine. Then actions. What are your actions when you are in that state? Obviously, they're not going to be shouting or angry or anything like that.
Shalom, please don't yell.
Yeah. So that would be more like, what would be your actions? You actually, that could be your actions. You're planning your other projects. You are organizing whatever, or you
Whistling
delivering.
while I work. I'd be like
Amazing. Imagine
cleaning the
you could be
house and
actually,
singing.
can you imagine you carrying yourself differently than you used to carry yourself because you're not under that pressure anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you see yourself more kind, more genuine, more patient. Can you imagine yourself, somebody saying a few stupid things and you're like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's mental rehearsals, like meaning you're reacting differently because you know what, Miriam Leah, people are going to continue being stupid around. It's just reality until whatever, until Geula. It's how you're going to chill. You're not going to care about it. Okay. Why? Because you're no longer under that pressure. Okay. And you're still accomplishing things even faster because pressure takes so much time to and focus and refocus and blah, blah, blah. And then you divert. And so all of a sudden, all that is gone. So you could just move from one thing to the next, from one thing to the next. Okay, so once you envision yourself like that, all of a sudden you're like, oh, your brain is like, oh, we could accomplish things differently now. And you go right straight to where you need to go.
And what schedule has to do with it is, for example, if I need uninterrupted focus for one particular piece, like writing or something like that, or even reading, then I need to block those activities into times where there won't be interruptions. And take responsibility for interruptions because I shouldn't be doing those activities during a time when.
One second, give me a minute. Exactly, because you're going to be more mindful about how you're planning your day. Okay, you don't plan, I don't know, a relaxation when your kids are coming from school. It's just not happening. So you're not going to have the conflict. The inner conflict comes from what you want to attain, and it becomes unattainable.
Exactly.
So maybe you could keep all your meditations and just get up an hour earlier and go to sleep together with your kids.
Right. And then
because what would happen to me very often, I would just be so under pressure that my kids should go to sleep so I could do other things. Okay. It never happened. So I would be frustrated. Okay. So, okay, let me go to sleep with my kids. 8:30, there were times when my kids were little, I would go to sleep and I would wake up 5 o'clock because I would get a nice sleep, right? From 8 to 5. That's reasonable. Right? So I would have that whole morning until my kids wake up to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, definitely not. I hate when I mean, that's like the worst because you never get
but I'm
as much done in the morning as you can get done at night.
It might be differently because for you, maybe you could work from your home, but I didn't have a luxury to work from home. I had my job in my school. Right, so I didn't have that morning, that daytime. So for me, that was work. But I'm talking about like everybody, you will find other solutions in your scheduling. So it's doable.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And just taking responsibility. I think it's just owning the choice to respond. And if I find myself in conflict with my internal focus and my and external environment, then I need to restructure because someone needing me and wanting to speak to me is not a sin, is not something that I should be a a receiver as well, and not just so that I need to make myself a Kaylee for receiving in contexts in which there, or like being in partnership, like it's not just me, it's like I'm in partnership
Exactly.
with other people around. And then if I have time to myself, then great, that time I can choose to do whatever I want with. But
Yeah, but you'll see, you'll change also, because once your whole energy shifts, even if things will not work out your way, your reaction's still going to be very different.
hmm,
You understand?
okay.
Even if
For
you,
okay.
even if you want to do something and you'll be interrupted, because that could happen also. You allocated finally your hour and then something happened and you're like, oh, you
Yeah.
know. So you'll see, once you shift the way you view yourself accomplishing things, okay, then even if things get interrupted, you're still going to remain that composure.
Hmm.
Not because you're going to force it, but because it's just going to be there.
Hmm. Okay, amazing. I definitely, so if I, so it's really, the most important thing was that, um, pointing out the neuro shifting and the weekly check in, which I hadn't been looking at the notes. I was only just listening to the lectures. So I missed those visuals. And then, also in terms of printing out, I'm still trying to figure out whether to print it. But now that you're recommending printing out the notes, I think that it doesn't make sense to print it and bind it. It makes more sense to print out loose leaf pages and then put them into a binder that I can add to, as opposed
Yes,
to
yes, you could
like
do that.
a pre-bound type of book. And so I need to just get on top of that, like the printing. I don't know if I can just
Yeah,
print
this
it
one you would need to
once,
bind,
but
Miriam Leah. This one, the spiral binding is the best, because then you flip these pages, and then you have like a whole book. It's nice. It's like, flipping, and then you all the time will open. The layout is that the old self will be on your left,
hmm.
okay, and the
Okay,
right,
so double
and the
sided.
new self.
Printing it
Exactly,
double sided.
double-sided, exactly. Yeah. It double-sided, and it just lays out every page like that. And then you just mark the day, old self, new self, old self, new self. And then you just write, and don't, you see, you really want to get your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is not your analytical mind. So the thoughts will just pop in
Hmm.
and you just write them down. As you start thinking about it, you'll just write it down. And it doesn't have to be half-hour activity, because the mental rehearsal itself is 18 minutes. It has to be doable. So the whole thing should not take more than half an hour. Because then once
Yeah,
it becomes a
the
whole long
18 minute
saga,
is like, that was long. Yeah. I don't know.
it is
That was
still
like
long.
hard to, that's like pretty long. There's nothing that's like a shorter mental rehearsal.
This is the shorter version. The original was 33 minutes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Cause like by the time I'm
Right.
done with that, I feel like it was like, till I'm done with davening and then the mental rehearsal, I was like, wow, I already have to like leave. So I didn't actually get to the writing part
So Bezrat
today.
Hashem, once you have the 40 days mental rehearsal,
Hmm.
then you complete the 40 days of this longer version.
Hmm.
Then what will be enough is just 8 minutes, just revisiting your vision and
Hmm.
being fully there. Because
Hmm.
you already trained your nervous system to recognize the old patterns for 40 days.
Hmm.
Then you could just listen to that. And that I will share with Rat Hashem next week, because we're reaching the end, more or less, right? We have number
Oh,
7,
wow.
number 8. But I will do few other sessions, just maybe an hour a week, just bringing the group together, see where they're at, and kind of slowly, phase it out. And B'ezrat Hashem, we're also going to be opening our club. I do club, meaning, for all the people who, and then we have once a month a meeting,
Hmm.
and discussing different things, and then everybody kind of stays within the they could ask questions and all that stuff. And the group always remains open, so you could ask any questions in the group. Okay,
Amazing. Thank you.
beautiful.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm looking forward. Every time I do the work, there's shifts, but it's like I haven't gotten into this flow of the 40 days yet.
Zrat Hashem, you'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
today
good.
is actually day one because I was listening finally to the it was, I guess it was week 4, or maybe I went back, I revisited week 3 or something. I had only listened to half of it, and then it was like, okay, tomorrow is day 1, or whatever was the session before tomorrow was day 1, and I was like, okay, message from Hashem, tomorrow is day 1. So this morning I
Yeah.
really made it a point to listen to that whole 18-minute program, I mean meditation, but by the time I got to the full 18 minutes, like I was like literally I just had to leave for work basically. So
Okay, good. So Bezrat Hashem, you'll put it where in your schedule it falls. It's best to do it early in the morning, but if it doesn't, as long as it gets done. But as long as it gets done in a specific time every day, it's better than just randomly. You know, sometimes people do it like right after lunch, right after this, right before the bed, right in the morning. You could play with it for week 1, but from the second week on, the better consistency. It's like eating. You know, if I'm eating chaotically, my body doesn't know what's going on. So it's always going to be in the state of stress. But if I know, like 8 o'clock, I eat my whatever breakfast, 12 o'clock, I eat my lunch, 6 o'clock, I eat my supper, my body understands the predictability. So it adjusts. It doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm in the stress mode. Right. So the same thing is with any work that we do. It's better to have a steady time. This is the time when I do this. That's it. So it kind of gives that, even if it's in the middle of the day, but it gives that sense of predictability. So your brain waves adjust on that.
okay, amazing.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna
Sure.
try to
Much
delve into
hatzlacha.
this process.
All
Thank
the
you.
best. Sure.
Thanks so much for
Bye-bye.
your time. Okay, bye.
No problem.